So, you've proudly brought home a massive, vibrant chrysanthemum for the fall, right? Only to watch it turn into a depressing pile of mushy, dead twigs by spring. It's literally the most heartbreaking cycle for so many gardeners. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be this way? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute ultimate step-by-step guide to saving your autumn flowers. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so why do so many garden chrysanthemums just give up and die in the winter? It's the ultimate gardening frustration. You invest in these gorgeous domes of color to celebrate the season, they look stunning on the porch, and then winter hits. Despite your absolute best intentions, they just don't wake up in the spring. You're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Well, let me tell you, you are not alone. And the best part, it's actually highly preventable once we understand exactly how this plant ticks.
Here's a quick roadmap for our explainer today. We'll start with the Queen of Autumn, move into fall prep and pruning, then cover mulching and frost protection, watering and winter monitoring, the spring awakening, and finally, a few final tips and a disclaimer.
Part 1. The Queen of Autumn.
The biology behind this whole issue is actually super interesting. We're specifically looking at Chrysanthemum multiflora. You know, those perfect globe-shaped beauties. They are absolutely the undisputed queens of autumn. But here's their tragic flaw. They have an incredibly shallow, superficial root system. Because those roots sit right up near the surface of the soil, they are highly, highly vulnerable to freezing temperatures and, honestly, this is the real killer, winter wetness. It's usually not just the cold that takes them out. It's the nasty combination of freezing cold and trapped moisture that just rots those shallow roots away.
Part 2. Fall prep and pruning.
Now we get to the fun part. This 3-step haircut process is going to completely empower you to set your plant up for a deep, healthy winter sleep. First off, patience is key here. You've got to wait for the plant to completely finish its full bloom cycle. Don't rush it. Once the flowers are completely spent, it's time to be ruthless. Step 2. Cut the stems all the way back to just 8 to 15 centimeters from the ground. I know, it feels super drastic, but doing this significantly reduces the plant's transpiration area. That means it won't lose precious moisture or waste energy over the winter. And step 3, listen, this is non-negotiable. Instantly remove all of that cut debris, the dead leaves, and the spent flowers from your garden. Just get it out of there. Let me explain why that cleanup step is absolutely vital. Sweeping up dead leaves isn't just about making things look tidy. Leaving that debris around creates a highly dangerous moisture trap. That wet, decaying matter literally becomes a cozy winter hotel for things like botrytis, which is a lethal gray mold, and septoria, a fungus that causes nasty leaf spots. It even harbors pests like the red spider mite. By clearing out all that debris, you are literally sweeping away the overwintering habitat for everything that wants to destroy your plant.
Part 3. Mulching and frost protection.
Okay, so here is one of the most common mistakes beginners make: panicking and covering the plant way too early. You actually want the first few light, stable frosts to hit the plant. Why? Because those first mild freezes act as a natural hardening process. It triggers the plant to slightly dehydrate its own cells, pushing moisture down into the roots, which prepares it to survive temperatures as insanely low as -20 degrees Celsius. So only after this natural hardening process, in early winter, should you actually apply your protective mulch.
And when you do finally mulch, I want you to anchor this exact metric in your mind: 15 centimeters. Your protective layer over that shallow root system must be a solid 15 centimeters thick. Seriously, anything less, and the frost is just going to penetrate straight down into the root zone.
But what you cover them with is just as important as how thick you cover them. Good coverings are things like pine bark, well-rotted compost, or maybe straw mixed with some dry twigs to keep a nice air pocket. If you're gardening on a balcony, a breathable frost cloth works absolute wonders at night. Now on the flip side, never ever use polyethylene plastic to wrap your plants. Plastic doesn't breathe at all. It just traps condensation inside, which then turns into a solid block of ice when the temperature plummets, suffocating and rotting your poor plant. You'd essentially be building a fatal moisture dome.
Part 4. Watering and winter monitoring.
During the winter, we really have to treat garden mums and potted balcony mums a bit differently. If your mum is planted right in the ground, you can pretty much rely on natural outdoor moisture, assuming you planted it in a spot with excellent drainage. But if your mum is in a pot on a balcony or maybe an unheated enclosed space, the rules totally change. The ideal temperature range for a potted mum over the winter is between 1 and 15 degrees Celsius, and you only need to check on them about 1 to 2 times a month.
Oh, and I literally cannot stress this next point enough. Never
bring your potted, dormant chrysanthemums inside to a cozy, heated living room. I get it, it's incredibly tempting when it gets freezing outside to want to rescue them, but bringing them into a heated house will shock their system, completely break their dormancy way too early, and almost certainly destroy them. They need that winter chill to survive properly. Think unheated basements, chilly attics, or glazed balconies. The living room is, quite frankly, a death sentence.
When you do go check on those potted mums once or twice a month, just follow this foolproof protocol. Step 1. Ditch the watering schedule and just use your fingertips to feel the soil. You want it barely, and I mean just barely, moist. Step 2. Water very gently, making sure to place the spout of your watering can beneath any remaining foliage. And step 3. Listen up, because this is where a lot of people fail. Empty the drainage saucer immediately. If you leave water sitting in that saucer, it'll travel right back up into the soil, keeping the roots soaking wet. And as we know, wet roots guarantee a frozen puddle of rot when night falls.
Part 5. Spring Awakening.
There's this really great quote from our source materials, and it's absolutely foundational to this whole process. It goes, "Since the chrysanthemum suffers from moisture retention, in the spring all materials must be removed in time and the plant uncovered." This is so crucial. When the weather begins to consistently warm up and the danger of a severe hard freeze has finally passed, you cannot leave that 15-centimeter winter coat on the plant. If you do, those heavy spring rains will trap moisture under the mulch, and your plant will rot right as it's trying to wake up.
So here are your joyful spring action steps. Uncover the plant completely. Just gently pull back all that pine bark or straw. Then get close and look at the soil line. What you're watching for are tiny, fresh green shoots pushing up from the base. That is your basal growth, which is basically the ultimate sign of success. Once you see those little green shoots, you can slowly resume a normal, moderate watering schedule. And keep in mind, spring is also the perfect time to dig up and divide the root ball if your plant has become a bit too crowded over the years.
Part 6. Final tips and disclaimer. Real quick, before you run out to the garden to get started, just a quick professional note. These tips are based on general best practices for overwintering. Keep in mind that individual results can definitely vary based on your specific microclimate, your soil type, and other environmental differences. So always be sure to adapt these rules just a bit, depending on how harsh or mild your specific local weather conditions tend to be. And that brings us to the end. By pruning right, timing your mulch perfectly, and carefully managing that moisture, you are fully equipped to keep the Queen of Autumn reigning in your garden year after year. Honestly, it kind of makes you wonder, if a plant this delicate can survive the harshest winters with just a bit of clever protection, what other difficult garden challenges are actually totally within our control? So which color chrysanthemum will you be rescuing this winter? Let us know. And hey, if you found this explainer helpful, definitely hit subscribe for more. Until next time, happy gardening!